Hello, welcome back to our Staff Room Shorts. This week we're going to spend 5 minutes and think about 2 questions all around the theme of encounter. Okay, so the word encounter is one that I think many of us are familiar with in our schools, and if you've not met it yet, let me break it down for you. The reason encounter has become so popular is because in our diocese it's one of our bishop's pastoral priorities, and that's a big deal. There are 3 things that we are called to do as a whole diocese to help us understand our role as a church, and they are thinking about encounter, thinking about discipleship and missionary discipleship. We'll talk about the other 2 a bit later on, but the idea of encounter and what it means for us is really, really important. So let's start with the definition. And maybe actually the definition gives us a bit of an insight into the ways in which we can bring this to life, because the actual definition of encounter is an unexpected meeting. I think sometimes there are places we expect to see the God stuff and the holy stuff. We expect to see it in Mass or our liturgical prayers or in our prayer corners. But I wonder if the fact that our word is encounter and the actual definition of that is an unexpected meeting means that we need to look at ways in which we can bring an opportunity for people to meet Christ in the places maybe that we don't expect. Yeah, it might be obvious in the RE lesson, but is it as obvious in the DT lesson? And is there a way to make that happen? I think there is. Because when we look at our understanding of what Christ is and what Christ did and how we really encounter him, well, we have to really look at the kind of words that Pope Francis has been using. The last kind of 10 years of his pontificate, he's talked a lot about an encounter with Christ. He draws upon his experience working in Latin America, particularly working in very poor, very rural communities where the first time people met the church and met Jesus was through charitable efforts, was through love, was through faith in action. People met someone who gave them love, who gave them support in a time of need. And in doing so, in meeting that love, they were meeting Christ, or meeting the face of Christ. Now, it might sound like a bit of a big task, but what that essentially means for us is that people may encounter Christ through us, through you. You may become the face of Christ for someone else, simply by showing them love. Now, that's massive, but it's also pretty cool. That actually we've got an opportunity to be the face of love to the people that we meet. And that's something all of us can do, whether we're Catholic or Christian or faith or not. All of us are called to provide an opportunity for encounter. What that, of course, then is also mirrored is in the beautiful ways we encounter Christ in the liturgy, in the Mass, in the Eucharist, in adoration. There are so many ways in which we can meet Jesus. But today, I'd like you guys to think about how is it that maybe people might meet that love or meet Jesus through you. Would they meet that in the compassion that you show them, the sympathy, the empathy that you give? Would they meet that in the work that you do or the sacrifices that you make for someone? Today, can you go out of your way to tangibly express love for someone you work with or someone that you serve? Because that's when those moments of encounter happen. This year, we hope that all the people that enter into our community will encounter love. But I think sometimes we forget that actually maybe that is down to us to make that love real. So this week, think about these 2 things. Where do you think people meet Jesus already in your school communities? What are those bits that work really well? Like, do people really resonate with the times of prayer or times of worship? Do they get involved with the various things, or do they really kind of enjoy when it comes to Mass or when they sing together, or do those kind of... Are those really good methods or opportunities for encounter? I really hope they are. And then maybe the second part of that question is, where are the more unexpected places that we can create opportunities for encounter? How can we bring Christ to different places? To places that are maybe on the margins or places that meet people that wouldn't normally be included? How can we create opportunities for encounter in unexpected places? Have a think about that. Have a think about what that might mean for you, and then you'll see over the next kind of course of the few videos how encounter, discipleship and missionary discipleship link together. Because look at the Gospels. People met Jesus often because he came to their town and he loved them, or he healed them, or he preached to them, or he served them. And then because they met Jesus, they wanted to learn about Jesus. They became his disciples. And those disciples, what did they do? They went out and formed other disciples through putting that love into action, creating opportunities for encounter. That's why those words are how they are. That's why that cycle is. That's what we are as a church. Encounter discipleship, missionary discipleship. But it starts with meeting Christ, and it starts with meeting love. And they very well, and the people you serve and the families you work with, very well might meet Christ and might meet love in you. We'll see you soon.